Michael stared at his ceiling for the third hour in a row. The fans spun above him in lazy circles, mirroring his life. Constant motion, zero progress. His alarm had gone off at 6 a.m. like always. And like always, he had hit snooze 7 times. It was already 9:30 a.m. His college assignments were overdue, his room was a mess, and his body ached from doing absolutely nothing. It wasn't that Michael didn't want to succeed. In his mind, he had always been the guy with potential. But that label had slowly turned into a curse. Potential without action had become his prison. Every evening he'd tell himself, "Tomorrow, I'll start." But tomorrow never came. Not really. Procrastination had him in a chokehold, and he was losing air. One day, after missing yet another deadline, Michael received an email that sent a chill through his spine. Final warning, academic probation notice. His scholarship, the only thing making college possible, was hanging by a thread. That night, his mother found him sitting on the porch, eyes wet, shoulders slumped. She didn't say anything, just handed him a cup of tea and whispered, "Talk to Professor Rao. He helped your cousin when she almost dropped out." Professor Rao was known as the philosopher of the faculty, a quiet man with a beard like a monk and eyes that seemed to read your soul. Michael, desperate and skeptical, walked into his office the next day. "You don't have a motivation problem," the professor said after hearing his story. "You have a habit problem." Michael looked confused. "But Trying, the professor interrupted, is what people do when they're not truly committed. You don't need a miracle, you need a bamboo tree." "What?" The professor smiled. "Let me tell you a story." He leaned back, fingers crossed over his chest. When you plant a bamboo seed, you water it, nurture it, and for 5 years nothing happens, not even a sprout. But if you keep watering it every day, in the 5th year, in just 6 weeks, it can grow over 80 feet tall. Michael furrowed his brows. "The question is," the professor continued, "did the bamboo grow in 6 weeks? Or did it grow over 5 years? Small habits compounded daily are the roots. If you stop, the bamboo dies underground. But if you persist, even when it seems pointless, one day it explodes upward." Something clicked inside Michael. That night he made a vow to himself, no more waiting for big changes. Just one habit at a time. He started small, absurdly small. Day 1, he made his bed. That was it. Day 2, made the bed and drank a glass of water. Day 3, bed, water, and 5 push-ups. He created a checklist titled Bamboo Habits. They were tiny, laughably so. But he didn't skip a day. No matter how tired, bored, or stressed, he showed up. Over the next month, something strange happened. Michael didn't just feel better, he became better. 5 push-ups turned into 15. A 10-minute study session turned into 2 hours. He started sleeping on time, eating better, thinking clearer. But it wasn't all smooth. There were days he wanted to quit. Days when the old voice whispered, "This is pointless. You're still behind, just give up." But he remembered the bamboo. Every checkmark on his list was a drop of water on a buried seed. By the 3rd month, Michael wasn't the same person. He resubmitted assignments, talked with professors, got tutoring, cleaned his room. He even helped a classmate who was struggling with the same issues he once had. The academic probation was lifted. His grades weren't perfect, but his consistency was, and that changed everything. A year later, Michael stood in front of a packed classroom, not as a student, but as a guest speaker, invited by Professor Rao to share his story. He held up his old checklist, now worn and faded. "This," he said, "was my ladder out of the pit. I stopped chasing massive change. I started planting small seeds. And here's what I learned. Success isn't a leap. It's a slow, patient rise. Like the bamboo, invisible at first, but unstoppable once it breaks the ground." He paused. Every drop of effort you give today is feeding something underground. So don't give up just because you can't see the results. Keep watering your habits. Because one day, you'll look back and realize that the roots you built in silence gave rise to a life that roars. Transformation doesn't begin with grand gestures. It begins with quiet decisions. A glass of water, a made bed, a 5-minute study session. Done daily, they form the roots of something unstoppable. Don't wait for motivation. Build momentum. Your bamboo is waiting underground, and it's about to rise.